If you're running a blog or content-heavy website, organizing your content is key. And today we're going to go over two things: why categories are so important in WordPress websites and how to create category-specific templates in Elementor. Let's get started. Why do categories matter? 1, categories give a better user experience. If the content is organized, people can find what they're looking for a lot easier. 2, it improves SEO. If your content is organized, search engines can understand the content better. 3, increased engagement. If people are finding what they're looking for, they're going to stay on the site a lot longer. And 4, content strategy clarity. When you have your content organized into categories, you can easily see what content you're publishing a lot of and where you need to fill those gaps in. Now that we've gone over why categories are important, let me show you some examples of how you can create custom category pages on your site. This is our travel blog, Must Love Traveling. We've been running this site since around 2018. It's where we share the adventures we've had around the world, along with practical tips and helpful info to help you travel smarter and with confidence. I'll leave a link to the site in the description so you can check it out. A few months ago, I redesigned this site completely, and my big focus was on the content and the category structure. There's a lot of content on this site. Like I said, we've been running the site since 2018, but it really wasn't categorized in the best way. I knew that I could use categories to better organize the content and navigation structure. So that's really what I focused on, was the content strategy. I knew that in Elementor, I could easily create templates for specific categories that would allow me to customize those pages. The categories that had more content could be organized in a better way, so it was easier for people to find what they were looking for. If we go through the site, you can see how I took advantage of this. The first thing I did was create a navigation that was based off of my blog categories. You can see here, if you go under destinations or guides, all of the submenu items are linking to different categories. If I click on Asia, right now this is pretty simple, just a list of posts. And that's because the only place we've covered in Asia is Tokyo. That's the only place that we've been to. We are going to Singapore and Thailand at the end of the year, so this category will expand, but right now there isn't much to filter or navigate in this category, so it made more sense to keep this one simple. This goes back to one of the reasons categories can be beneficial. It shows you where the gaps in your content are. If we go to the United States category though, you'll see that it looks a lot different. There's a lot more content that falls into this category because we've been to several different states. My idea was to filter these posts with these checkboxes on the right-hand side. Right now, the page is showing all the content under the United States category, but if I click on California, it filters to show only posts tagged under the California category. If someone came to this site looking for content specific to California, it would probably be really frustrating if they had to go through pages and pages of content to find it. These filters make it a lot easier for people to find what they're looking for, but again, it really only makes sense on the categories where there's a lot of content to be filtered. If I put this on the Asia category, it really wouldn't make sense because there's not that much content to filter through. With a theme, you have a blanket template for every category. So unless you're a developer, you can't go and change these category templates to customize them. You're kind of stuck with what you have. The good thing about Elementor is you aren't relying on a theme and can customize these things easily. Let me show you how to do it. If I go under templates in Elementor, you can see all my different category templates. Under instances, it tells you what category number the template is assigned to. Category templates are archive templates, so if I were to create a new one, I would want to set that as an archive template. This just means that it's going to pull the archive for all the posts under the specific category you assign. Let's take a look at my United States template. I'll open that up in Elementor. There are a few static elements on this page. The picture at the top, this blurb, this background image, those are all static elements. Since this is only showing in the United States category, we can add this and it's not going to show anywhere else. This title is dynamic. In the editor, it just says archives, but it does show correctly on the front end. The editor doesn't pull in that dynamic element, so that's why it shows like that. I always like to make a note of that in case people get confused as to why it's not working correctly. It is, you just have to look at it on the front end. Down here, I have a loop grid that's pulling my posts. I wanted the way the post displayed to be the same no matter what category you were looking at. If we go back to the front end and click on Asia, you can see it looks the same as the United States. We have the featured image and the title, and you can click on either and it will take you to the post. I didn't want that aspect to change, so I created one loop grid template for that. Because I did that, I can now pull in that loop grid and set it up so it only pulls from a specific category, which is exactly what I did here. If you go under the query, you can see it's set to only pull in posts from the United States. I created the filters using JetSmart Filters, a Crocoblock plugin. If you want to learn more about how to use that, check out Mark's Crocoblock videos, both on our channel and the Crocoblock YouTube channel. Crocoblock gives you a ton of flexibility. You can do so much with dynamic content, so I highly recommend checking it out. Let's take a look at our display settings for this template because that is what determines where this template gets shown. If we click here, you can see I have it set to include categories United States. To set that, you just use these drop downs and follow the prompts. Depending on your content, you can add multiple display conditions or exclude as well. There's a lot of flexibility. If we go back to the front end, you can see that this category page is showing correctly. It's only pulling posts from the United States category, and the filters are working the way that they should. If we go to another category, it's going to look different. Let's click on this Europe category. You can see here the layout is similar to the United States, but the image here is different, the filters are different, and of course it's showing posts in the Europe category. It's basically the same layout style, I just changed the content to apply to Europe. Let's click on these other categories. Asia, pretty simple, same with Canada, same with the United Kingdom. For these pages, I didn't have to create 3 separate category templates, I just created one called Blog Archives. Any category that doesn't have a custom page will take this template on. It's like the catch-all. If you are creating custom category templates in Elementor, it's important to also create this as well. You can see in the editor, I just have the page title being displayed, then my loop grid that I talked about before. The query is just set to current query, meaning that it will dynamically pull posts from whatever category I'm in. So unless I have a custom category template created like I just showed you with the United States and Europe, you're going to see a page like this for everything else. What's nice about having these category-specific templates is that I can easily add category-specific things to them. You can see on the Europe page, I've added some links to book hotels and flights, and I can add specific images, I can change colors if I want. I really have a lot of possibilities, and it makes my site look so much more custom and professional. When you use WordPress themes, you aren't getting that type of flexibility. You're really limited to what is built in your theme. Using Elementor gives you so much more flexibility. So that's how you create custom category templates in Elementor. Thanks so much for watching. I hope you found this helpful. See you next time. Bye.